If you ever want to know about VA loans, she is her go-to. She can quote verbatim the VA handbook, I promise you. I've tested her. I've needed help. She's recovered me, and it wasn't even her deal, and she still helped me get it closed. So,
That's really what I want to deliver at this meeting, is that I know you have your favorite people, and I'm totally understanding on that, but I want to be your resource. I want to be your dictionary. Call me if I don't know the answer. I will find it for you in 24 hours and help you or sooner. I don't know everything, but I really love what I do, and I would just say this business saved me. I'll give my testimony for just a minute if that's okay with y'all. So I came from crazy home growing up, and I left home when I was 16 years old, and took my brother, who was 6 years younger than me, with me.
Wow.
Worked 3 jobs and went to high school, graduated North Mesquite High School. Any stallions in here? I only went my senior year, so it doesn't matter. Graduated and still worked those 3 jobs and helped my brother finish school. And I met my husband in 1993, and I still like him. So we're still together. I've been with the same man for it'll be 27 years soon, and we have 3 beautiful kids. And my husband really is the one that saved me, and then I found Jesus, and he took over my life and gave me 3 beautiful girls. This is my oldest daughter, Madison, and she's 25 years old, and gave us the most beautiful grandson in the world, and made me and Lolly. I'm a Lolly, and my husband is Pops. Lollipop, y'all go ahead and say it. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. So I'm a Lolly and he's a Pop, and she's now a mama. And then my middle daughter, she is a vet tech here in Forney, actually. And then my youngest daughter, she is a dental assistant, traveling hygienist, pediatric, something of another. So she's having a good old time in the dentist world, especially during this time. I started working as a mail clerk at the bottom of a building off of a Douglas in Dallas at a building called CTX Mortgage. Anybody remember CTX Mortgage? Because Countrywide and all that was my go-to if I couldn't broker. I had to broker it out somewhere. So, you know, Henry was my person on the other side that was taking my application and getting it where it needed to go before the crash. The owner of CTX Mortgage at the time, I didn't even know who he was. I was just the mail clerk. But he would come down every day at 3 o'clock and demand his mail, and I had to tell him it goes out the next day. You can't have it. That's before we had email, you know, all that fun. You know, it was in the 90s, y'all. We didn't have much of anything. We had the big, you know, box on the desk. But he kept coming on every day asking for his mail, and so my boss came to me and said that I had to go to the top floor, that the owner of the company wanted to speak with me. And I thought, when I went into the office in that room, he was there, and I'm like, am I getting in trouble because I wouldn't give you your mail? Am I fixing to get fired because I wouldn't give you your mail? And he said, just calm down, everything will be okay. And then 5 more people came into the room, and I'm like, I'm getting fired, you know? And they offered me a job as processor because I was such a stickler and a rule follower. And when you're a processor, you have to be a rule follower. You have to know what you're doing in this world of mortgage. And so I was a processor for about 5 years, and then I went to work for David Weekley Homes and headed up their processing department in Carrollton. I drive from Forney to Carrollton every day, as a young mom of kids coming along. And then when my 3rd child came along, I decided to go out on my own and open up Superior Loan Processing. I processed for all the loan officers, and I had 19 processors underneath me, and we processed for the whole Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. FedEx and UPS was dropping every day at my house, and we just made an engine. And then a mortgage company by the name of Alathus out of Austin, Alathus Mortgage, they offered to buy my company, which scared me to death because a lot of our loans were getting brokered out to there. So they saw how good our processing department was, and evidently their processing department wasn't doing as well. So we merged, and when we merged, a friend of mine who was a loan officer at the time, her name was Karen Roberts, and she said, Jennifer, you just need to take off and be a loan officer. And I was like, oh, no, I'm gonna go from processing to underwriting, then underwriting to hopefully retirement someday and all that. That's what I thought God had planned for me. But I had a really horrible pregnancy, my last pregnancy, and God sat me down and said, oh no, you gotta listen. And so I did. I started taking loan. You didn't have to have your mortgage license then, okay? So nobody broke any rules, and I started taking loan apps, and Karen started sending me different people to start with real estate agents like you guys. And before I know it, here we are in 2021, and here I am. I'm still doing it. I love what I do. I love helping your clients. I love making you guys shine, because that's the most important thing. I can't promise you that everything's gonna go just like it's supposed to, but I can promise you that you're gonna be communicated to throughout the process. Honesty is the only way to go. If I mess up, I'm gonna be the first thing to tell you is, I messed up. I'm human, I missed it, but we'll fix it. Because in this business, if you've been in it long enough, and if you're just now starting, you'll learn this too. Nothing is broken in this business, we can fix it. We can figure it out together and fix it, and that's the beauty of this business, is teamwork and fixing what really wasn't broken in the first place. So I've been doing this for, how old are you? 25 years I've been in this mess, and I absolutely love it. Right now, we're in a whole different kind of mess. How many people are just walking in and showing one house and getting a deal done just like that? How's that going for you all these days? Okay, Kim, you're special.
Because I called the builder that they said they
Okay.
didn't have any inventory.
And you said
If
yes.
you called them, don't believe it, they have inventory. They released it on Monday.
So I want to talk to you guys today about, after you've shown the 50 homes and you're not getting a bite, or you didn't win the deal because California put $100,000 overpriced or whatever, they're giving away, bulldogs. I literally have a contract that says they're giving away the first 2 puppy bulldogs they have the pick of out of their litter. Boats, we've got boats being given away on contracts. Boats, Corvette, somebody got a Corvette in their closing. I mean, the buyers are giving to the sellers, guys. This is crazy, and this is the craziest market in 25 years I've ever experienced. And I've gone through the crash like you have, and it wasn't fun, but we made it through it, and we'll make it through this one too. But my biggest thing that I want to share with you guys today is, how many people do you guys meet with a day that tell you, oh my gosh, my real dream is to have like 1 acre to 2 acres and build a house and live outside in the country. How many do y'all hear that all day long? That is like the American dream. Kids, well, I say kids, young adults' dream is to have a farm. They all want some furry cows and a couple of goats and some funky chickens, and that's what they're looking for. They want to grow their own food and whatever, they want to do that. So there's a program that our company has that I don't believe that anyone else is utilizing or even has, and it's called the one-time close. Normally when you want to build on land, you got to go and find the land and buy it. Then you have to go meet with a construction consultant to get a construction loan, to get the money that you need to build on that land. Then you have 6 months to a year in that balloon note to make that happen, and then you have to close again on a permanent loan. So you're paying your down payment on your land and the closing costs when you close on your land. Then you're paying the construction loan cost, an appraisal, a survey without a house on there, plans and specs, construction fees, your closing, and your down payment. You have to have down payment too. It's 10 to 20% on land, 15% on a construction loan. And that's scary when you look at all that money that's just flying out, and you still don't have a house, and you still haven't closed on your permanent loan. Then you have to have your real down payment, right? Real closing cost, and now you've closed 3 times. That's a lot of money to close 3 times on an American dream of, I just want to have a goat. It's a lot of money for a goat, in my opinion. But with this program, it's one time. And what we'll do is, let's say that you have a buyer that wants to build on land, but maybe they don't own land. I'm going to talk about owning your land not owning land, and we'll talk about owning land next, okay? So you have a buyer that wants to buy some land and build on it. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll, in that option period of buying the land, we'll go ahead and have them meet with the custom home builder, that we have a list that's approved, or if they have a builder that they want to use, we can approve them as well. Once we have the builder's contract, the plans and specs, and the true cost, we add that to the cost of the land. You write the contract for the land and the construction. We close in 30 days. The rate is the rate that you and I are seeing on regular homes, and it stays with the house while it's being built. We give them 1 year to build, and they only pay interest on the interim financing, no more than $600 a month until it's ready. And the rate is fixed. So if the market was 3%, and it takes them a year, and in a year it's now 4 1/4, they're still locked at their 3%.
No more closing at the end?
No closing at the end, we're done. You get
Still
one-
that 10%? 10% down?
No, we're gonna talk about that. You can go down as 3%. It's conventional FHA, VA, and USDA, guys. It's just your typical loans. It's your typical loans. If we find a USDA, it's 100% financing, there's no money down. If there's enough equity, when we get the appraisal back in that land, they can use it for the closing cost. So sometimes we can get them in as less than $1,000 at the table. Just depends on where we're at in the land.
It might keep some people from getting burned by some people that don't want to pay after they meet with them. No names mentioned.
Okay, so, Kim is such a spunky thing, isn't she? So that,
$800,000?
yes.
The builder decided, oh, I didn't think you were asking me to pay you commission.
No, we want you to stay through the whole thing. I don't wanna do this on our own, and the builder doesn't either. And most of the time when we school our custom home builders, we let them know that they need to allow costs for an agent. Because I'm bringing in an agent, my buyers need to be represented all the way through this. It can get backwards real fast when you're building a house. And so we gotta have, I've almost every home that I've owned, I've built. And I've had a realtor all the way through, and I would not do it any other way, because when you don't like the brick, or you don't like how the brick was laid, or you don't like the flooring because it's not exactly how you thought it was gonna be, they'll just tell you they can sell it to anybody else, like it or don't like it. But if you have a realtor involved, oh no, rip it up, this is awful, you know. And I'm not saying they're gonna do it every time, but you've got someone there that's your sounding board, so every time you meet with that builder, you don't feel like all you've done is nag the builder. You can actually have a conversation with them. So having a realtor involved in it the whole way through is the most important thing. And when I sit down with a client, or your client you send to me, I tell them up front, you gotta have your agent through this or you won't make it. So, and I'm agent happy driven, that's what we want. Okay, so with the purchase of the land and the house, let's just say they're gonna go conventional, we can go down at 3% on a conventional loan if they're first time home buyers. There is a 10% tolerance that we put into the construction part of it, because you just never know if there's gonna be a O somewhere in there. And we close, like the house is there. You get paid, they get their closing information, I get paid, and then when the house is complete, it takes about 30 days for them to send out an inspector, an appraiser, to do a final inspection and make sure that everything matches the plans and the specs that they said that the house was worth. As long as it does, we sign off on it, it becomes a permanent loan. They skip that payment because you've already collected the interest, and they have 1 month free before it starts coming to hit them every month. It's a great loan, guys. So if you're on your 15th house out there, ask them, have you ever thought about building on land? Have you ever thought about owning 1 acre to 2 acres? And I got people that want 50 acres, you know, so that's all possible. But let's look at a different aspect of this. If you inherited land, your family member gave you land. Like, for instance, my mother-in-law, she's gonna, give us a couple of acres out there on Kickapoo Creek. And she's gonna give it to us for a penny. We're gonna sign our papers, we get it. I now own that land. You can't buy something you already own. It's yours, right? But you have all the equity in that land. So when you decide you wanna build your $300,000 to $400,000 home on that land, It does not cost you one penny because you use 100% of your equity to do that. These buyers don't know that. They don't know. I mean, I have one right now, we're closing on a refinance. He owns 2.5 acres of land and he has a mobile home. And he just called me today because he said he closed, and he said, now, in about a year, I'm gonna wanna build my dream house on my land. What do I have to do? Well, we'll do the one-time closed loan. We'll get you set up with a builder, or you tell me who your builder is. We'll use the equity to build it, and then you have 6 months to remove the mobile home off of your property. And we'll pay that off in the note at closing. So you have one homestead. There's also a way they can split that in half and survey it off and build over here and pay that off in the note, and you still keep it. So there's a way to do that as well if they're wanting, you know, grandma and grandpa to come live with them too. Or the son or the daughter that won't go on with their lives, you know. So I don't mean that ugly. I have one at home still.
Sometimes they need help. Yeah.
Sometimes they need a little love, don't they? So that's the beauty of that program. Any questions that I didn't cover or that's come into mind, or is there anything that just pops up that goes, wait a minute, how does this work?
It's an amazing product.
So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a different option. I mean, people still want to live in residential areas, and that's understandable, of course, you know, in a neighborhood setting. But most people don't even ask to do that because they don't think it's possible. They don't think that they're ready for that dream. Oh, maybe when I'm in my 30s or my 40s, I'll get to do that. No, I mean, I've got 22 and 23-year-olds building on their own land. Grandma left them land, and I want to build on it. What they've done is they call me saying, what do I do to put a mobile home on grandma's land? Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about what that does to your land, first of all, and then let's talk about what you could do. You're going to go spend $300,000 on a mobile home, and you can build $250 to $300 out here and use your equity and not spend a penny. We need to do that. That's a better plan. So, interest rates right now, guys, on those loans are the par rates of what are on every loan right now. We're in the 3s. If you're not already seeing a tick up in the interest rates, let's just be real, it's there. We are in the mid-3s, low 4s, guys. Stop selling 2.875 because it's not there anymore. It's going to cost, at 2.875, you're costing 2 points of whatever your loan amount is right now. So, you know, who has $18,000 they want to throw down the highway? Why would we? So I'm going to help you guys educate your buyers, your clients on really what is the importance of an interest rate. And why is it important? And is it really important? Is it important at this time in your life? More than likely not. Most of our first-time home buyers are going to be in their homes 4 to 5 years. And why would you tell somebody to spend $7,000 to save $30 in their payment when they're not going to ever make it up? It takes 10 years to hit your principal. So unless you're paying lots of money on it in between. But honestly, if you own a home, you're going to pay that interest for the first 10 years. So why are you going to pay $10,000 to buy down your rate if it's never going to affect your payment and you're going to sell it in 5? So we got to stop worrying about, and that's the media, throwing that, you know, rates are lower than they've ever been. You can get 1.9. I saw it on my thing on my computer this morning where it said, call us today for 1.97 interest rate. No hidden fees, no discount points, no whatever. Come on now. It's the biggest lie. It's not the truth, because then they get you, oh, well, that was for people that have 800 scores and you have a 640. It's all a facade. It's a magic trick. Look over here, but this is happening
We
over
didn't tell you
here.
to put 50% down.
Oh, we'll put 50% down, you know.
Finance it for 10 years, they will get you whatever rate you want.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's the hardest thing right now that I'm having a trouble with is explaining to the buyer how important or how not important your interest rate is. What's important is your payment. You tell me I don't want to go over $1,500, I'm going to make sure that we put you in the house that you need to be in no more than $1,500 a month. But then you call me back a week later, well, Jim Bob over here told me that he got 3.125 and I have 3.5 and maybe I need to go to his loan off. Well, are you happy with your payment? Are you happy with your service? Come on, let me show you what 3.25 and 3.8 look like. $5.25 in your payment, and you want to move your whole loan over here to Jim Bob that you don't even know, and your agent is over here going, please don't do that, you know? I'm going to Wells Fargo. That's like the worst thing you can say, is I'm going to Wells
Bank of
Fargo.
America.
Or Bank of America. Yeah, so, my big thing to tell you guys today is that there's other options out there than showing 25 plus homes and feeling like your air is out of your balloon every time you go into the house at night. I mean, I know I'm friends with lots of agents, and we had coffee the other day, and one of my girlfriends and I did, who's an agent, and she was just like, I'm exhausted. I don't even want to show another house. What's the point if they don't have 50 grand extra? What's the point? I mean, literally, this is what you're asking your buyers right now, right? How much money do you have to play with? If you don't have 25,000 extra, you can't play this game. And that's sad. That's really sad right now. So I wanted to give you guys an alternative to talk to your clients about and let you know that I'm here. Also, with Mid-America Mortgage, we hold on to our loans. Only 5% or less get sold, and most of those are conventional. Our Govy loans, our VA loans, we keep those. So there's a lot of times that, let's just say that you have a buyer that's been pre-qualified for $150,000. Well, those banks have a ratio block sometimes. Sometimes we can get them to 200,000 because we go off of the direct underwrite rule, which means if DU says we can do it, we don't care about the ratios, as long as we can get an approval. So sometimes if you're looking for someone that just cannot find that house or keeps getting bid out because of cash buyers, and they're in that 150 to 200 price range, try me. Let me see if we can get them to 250, and that gives them some more options. Make sense? Because when you in-house your bank, you're holding on to them. As long as we have an approval, we'll move forward with it. My niche, like she said, is VA. Is anybody in this room afraid of VA loans? Don't be afraid of VA loans. They're the best loans in the world. If you have veterans, or you know a veteran, I promise you I will take such good care of them. Veterans are my favorite people in the world. They come the good, the bad, the ugly, but I live it all. I have a special place in my heart for veterans, really all heroes. My brother was killed in the war in 2004. He was the 1,000th soldier in Iraq. And boy, did I want to put my boots on and go fight a war for him. And the only way I really knew how to do that in my industry was to become the best at VA and to make sure my veterans get everything they deserve when they come to me. I pay up to $3,200 of their closing cost on every VA loan. All of our lender fees are waived. My boss, the CEO of the company, is a veteran as well. And when I joined Mid-America Mortgage almost 10 years ago, we had to talk about it. I said, listen, I can't come to work for you if you're not going to let me help my veterans. And this is how I want to help them. And he was 100% on. So if you have a VA loan, if you have a veteran, send them my way. Let me bless them. Let me help them. Let me make sure that, they get exactly what they deserve. They fought for our country, They've done the ultimate service, and some of them didn't come back. Yes, ma'am.
I have a VA couple who just happens to be my daughter and son-in-law, and they have made about 12 offers on houses that they haven't been able to get because everybody knows the story. Either a cash buyer is coming in, or
Conventional.
they're bidding $10,000-$15,000 over what the house is worth, and I think they're almost at the point of giving up.
Don't let them give up. Don't let them give up.
They need to get out of the major cities. They need to go to the smaller towns if they can do it.
So what that program, have they thought about ever buying some land and building?
I can
Because
bring that up.
a VA one-time close is amazing. It's an amazing loan because not only do you have that, but you got the landlord. You can get help with the land. So I love a VA loan. But if you need a strong VA letter to your sellers when you put your offers together, I'd more than be happy to write you a letter and then also give you a certificate that if we don't close on time, I give the sellers $3,000. So that might help you.
Okay.
The other thing is because they're VA and have 100% loan, their closing costs, if they put their closing costs up with their earnest money, that might help win the deal too, show that they got skin in the game. A 60-day lease back sometimes helps. a boat, a dog. So, I'm not trying to be funny, but just tell them don't give up. That not, especially in this market, just keep on pushing, because I promise you, God knows the desires of their heart. He hears their prayers, and lay it down at His feet, and the answers will be there. That's all I know to tell you to do, because that's what I do every day. I'm laying it down, and praying for everybody in this world. So.
Well, you might look at, if she's giving 3,200 in closing costs on that, then you could offer to pay title policy.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then you can give them the home warranty if you need to, that can come off the top too.
Okay.
Something else, and this goes for everyone looking for, because that is a tough thing, but something that happened to me just recently was, I had a buyer who's gonna be selling his house, and he just happened to meet a realtor at his church, who said he had a vet that was looking for a home, and they were going through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up selling, because he was a vet, he ended up selling his home to them. Didn't, they did the intermarriage thing and everything like that, but, and he gave him a price that was probably it's gonna be less than appraised price, because when we said, hey, you can probably sell $425, and he was gonna give it to $450, and he gave it to $425. So something to do for anyone, if you have that situation, is go into areas that they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
and look at homes and see when people closed 5+ years back, and see if there's a VA loan at that time, which then you know it's a vet. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of research, so you have to look to see, and you might be able to do go down to VA loan or something, VA listing. And you might be able to find some people that 5 years ago, they bought their house, and you go to them and say, hey, we're gonna give you market price. Whatever appraised that, we'll give you that price for this home, would you be interested? You might be able to get, the double side of it, but let them know that, you're being double sided, or waive your, say if you wanna represent yourself, that's fine, and just, you're gonna charge 3%.
So the other thing that you could do too, that I did see just recently, is that they're your family, so your commission is your commission. I get it, I'm not gonna take anyone's commission away from them, I know how important it is in these days, but with you being family, you could always reduce your commission to win the deal as well. You could reduce it to 2, and say,
For
listen.
the seller.
For the seller, yeah.
For the seller, yeah.
Yeah.
Another way. So now all of a sudden someone's looking at, wow, you mean I can sell my house and you're only gonna charge me 2%, and I'm gonna get appraised value, and it's going to another vet, so.
Yeah.
It takes research though, it's not something you can just like click on MLS and it's gonna come up right away. You're gonna have to go back 5 years and look for something that's been sold, but you can concentrate on the neighborhood that they're in.
Okay.
Guys, we have at least 4 years of this market, at least, I think. You think 4, 3?
I hope you're wrong, I'll pray against you.
They're telling us we're gonna start seeing the inflation part of it.
I think we're gonna have short sales, I don't think they're gonna be massive.
26 is when we're gonna start seeing it, because people are gonna live in their homes 3 to 4 years, and they're gonna decide they want to sell, and then when they find out they can't sell, 2 things are gonna happen: they stay put, or they walk away,
Are they short sale?
or they short sell.
Mm,
And
especially
that's
short.
the market that we have to swim through. So I'm just gonna talk to you guys about your listings. How many are in your listings? Come on, we need y'all's help to really help the sellers understand this is a fantastic market, but we've got to do a better job of letting our Texans, our native Texans, get in. Because what's happening is they can't compete against California and Oregon and Washington, because they just sold a house that's smaller than the house that they're buying here, and made $300,000 on it, and they don't care that it's gonna cost $100,000 to throw it here or whatever. Texans, native Texans, they're just selling their houses to go to the next house because they want to move schools, or they're empty nesters, or whatever's happened in their job, or they've got to relocate to Fort Worth and they're living here. There's things that are happening, and these guys cannot compete. They can't, especially if you're first time home buyers and you've been renting and you're thinking, I'm just going to get into this 100% program and not have to put a dime down. Well, no, you have a dime to pay. You have to play. You have to have money to play right now. So it's just, it's sad. I was telling Henry and Kim earlier that, we've got over 70+ approvals out right now and no houses. I can pre-qual all day long, but we gotta find houses, we gotta get this going, you know, and it's sad, I'll call them down the list once a week to see how things were going, did you house shop on the weekend? No, we're gonna hold off, we're gonna wait. What are you waiting on? Well, I mean, I've only seen 25 houses and you can only be told so many times no, you know, and so
But
it's
to
heartbreaking.
New construction's going on the ground, or they're on the ground. He's gonna try to get a little further along with completion. To new constructions will be going back on the market in 2 weeks. Terrell,
In Terrell?
on an acre.
Nothing in Rockwall right now. I mean, there's no, they're bidding on lots, guys. People are bidding on lots. So if you have a special lot that didn't cost anything, now you're bidding because you got 5, 10 families that want the same lot, so the builder's taking bids on the lots. It's the craziest thing I've seen.
Those, it's Rowlett, but I think it's Rockwell Schools off of Del Rock. Beezer has those little 3-story townhomes. They've had some inventory, a little bit. They got about,
They must have got a lumber delivery or something.
yes, mine's going up, yay.
Yes, yes. That was, what were you, 3 months late on closing on your house because of lumber? Yeah. She just built her first house, y'all. So she's in Waterscape in Roy City, yes.
History maker.
But they haven't opened up the next phase because there's nothing to open up, I mean, there's no, if you
Well,
can't.
my whole street's still under construction.
Yeah,
It's awful.
Well, everything, raw materials for
Yeah.
paint.
you'll get your lumber, but you won't have your wet windows. You'll get
Yeah.
your windows, but you won't get your tile. You'll get your tile, but you won't have your commodes. It's the craziest thing, so.
I told a girl today that we were gonna have to move out, and you might as well go in and extend the rate lock for 30 days. And she said, I am just trying to digest this. I am just trying to get this through my mind. I'm just heartbroken. And I said, honey, why don't you come out here at the east, and you might be going 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
I'm not telling you it's gonna be 30 days, but it might be a week, and it could be 2, and I don't have to keep changing it.
Mhm.
But I'm just devastated at the news. Well, get over it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Drama child.
Yes. Okay, so what else are you guys seeing out there that maybe I can try to help with?
So I had an offer go in over this weekend, and when I talked to the listing agent, who said we didn't get it, I asked if there was anything they could tell me to learn from. And they said that they accepted an offer because the buyer deleted the option period.
Yeah, no,
I haven't heard of that before. Is that
Yep.
we're not
So
doing it.
okay? I've never heard of it. I'm like,
that puts you
really?
at such risk. I mean, it is at the buyer's risk to do an inspection or not do an inspection, but you're losing his money, all of it.
Well, you could be
Like,
causing them a $25,000 error if something's really wrong that they didn't find out about, and they could have found out for $300 on an inspection.
Right.
That's what you talked
So
about.
it's just not smart to do.
It's not worth the
It
paycheck.
will come back to you if something goes wrong.
And
it will
me.
be, and Kim.
And Sherry.
Yes, and so it will be
A lot of
devastating.
investors and you
Do
know,
that.
companies from California or whatever are doing that. They're
cash
like, I'll just buy it
buyers,
like this cash with no option. So those are really attractive to the seller.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very,
So it just depends on the comfort level of the buyer.
they sent out a big
Well, I mean, you gotta
red
think
bold
about it.
notice.
So I'm
Please don't
selling
go
my
into the auction
house.
period.
And I know that my AC is 25 years old, but it's working and it's, you know. But if the inspector came out and said, you know, the AC has probably got maybe another year on it, maybe. You know that your due diligence is hey, you gotta get that fixed, you gotta do something about that before we buy the house. But if I'm a seller and someone says, no option, no inspection, I just want the house, that seller is like, heck yeah, I don't have to do anything. And then when the appraiser comes out and says, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and you accepted the house as is, well, the buyer can't go fix all of that. And if you're FHA or VA, and there's a list of things that have to be done, and the seller says, no, we signed a contract as is, well, you have a dead deal, because the buyer can't go in there and do those things, because he doesn't own the home. So it could really come back and just bite you, and that's happened, I've had that happen before, where they waived all of that, not in this market, but they waived all of that, and the appraisal came back just ugly. And it turned upside down, and they lost their earnest money.
Sue you for triple damages. $7,000 air conditioner unit can cost you $21,000 on a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yep. and we're all in trouble, we're all involved in it. 'Cause
Everybody
they
gonna
wanna
listen
sue
to
everybody
something.
involved, so it's ugly. That's, she said, that's an investor thing, and I wouldn't do that. Now,
She got the backup on it though. Did they ask you to read the backup?
now appraisal waivers we will do. When I get a loan from you guys, and you guys send me a contract,
Go away.
I immediately run that through DU to get or DU or LP to get it, well, Madison does, I don't do it. Madison runs it through to see if we can get an appraisal waiver, and that's like a golden ticket
That
when
is
you
a
get
golden
it.
ticket.
That's the golden ticket, you know, so everybody's eating chocolate that day. And we're all excited, yoo-hoo! I mean, it's the craziest thing, I'm like, we got one, it's all exciting, but.
It's by the home, correct? By the address?
Mhm.
Yeah, it goes off the age of the home and then the appraised value.
Right.
They look to see how long it's had the owner and how, you know, all that good stuff, age of the house. But yes, when we get one of those golden tickets, it's a celebration around the office, champagne for everybody, you know.
It
But-
normally happens between like a house that's 6 years or newer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So, you know, what we could do is, let's say that they think they're gonna get this accepted and they're gonna have to do $10,000 or something over, but we can null and void that if we get an appraisal waiver, so you'll give me the address, I'll run it through, we'll see if we get one before and.
What do you run it through?
DU or loan, so direct underwrite program or loan
product
prospect.
advisor.
Loan prospect. Those are the Fannie and Freddie Mae engines that tell you if you are approved or not approved. I don't hardly use it because I'm old school and I can tell you if you're approved or you're not approved just by looking at stuff. But I do like to use it, we use it every day is what I'm saying, but I'm not like, if we don't get an approval, I know how to fix it to make it an underwriting manual file. So we're gonna get it done. If I say we have a pre-approval, we have a pre-approval. Unless the employer, Katie, does not want to do their job, which is fill the verification of employment out correctly, which almost killed our deal. And I had to just get aggressive. I did. I got aggressive with the employer. So
I've never heard of such.
Oh yes. So I helped them understand real quick what was, you know, going to be lost if they didn't help us out. So they just didn't want to mark a box yes. They kept saying that his other income, that he makes more in other income than his base income, was not going to continue. They kept saying no, it won't continue. And I was like, every time you say no, we can't use that other income, and we use that income to get this approval, and here we are. And I would understand if he did not have a history of it, but he has 3 years history making more money than his base pay, so why wouldn't it not continue? Well, if he decides not to pick up the shift. And I said, has he ever not picked up the shift? Does he ever, you know?
I think employers don't understand is because I had another person in East Texas. I was on the phone for an hour dealing with the same thing from a different borrower. They don't understand that we do an average. Like, it's not a month by month thing. We take an average. So
Yeah.
if they didn't want to fill it out, and I'm like, I'm not doing just a month. I'm doing years.
We have to have the year to date and all that stuff filled out on there. So because of that, we lost a week.
Yeah.
We lost a week. And a week can kill a deal in this day and time, because if you don't close, we were supposed to close on the 7th and now we're closing on the 15th. And it's because it took us that long to talk the employer into marking the box. Yes.
I have a question, just from my industry where I deal with pest control. I do WDIs, hundreds of them a year. And a lot of times, like with VA, you say that that's your passion. We run into them a lot where they want to preventively treat homes for termites. And what we've learned is that there's a misconception of what termites really are, and so a lot of times we try to help the home buyer as well in getting so we use a system called Centricon so that they can, because termite treatment is thousands of dollars if you use liquid, and so we have found to do this. Why is it, or do you know why they require that preventative termite treatment?
VA insures their loans, and they want to make sure that no conducive conditions or any kind of insect is going to adhere their insurance of the home.
Isn't there a form to use is if the builder used, if on a new construction, the builder used
99, 8
treated
something,
boards?
99,
I have
99,
one
8.
right now.
Those pink things.
Yeah.
And see, there is not a home in the world that does not have a conducive condition.
Oh, I know that. It's the craziest thing. I argue with the inspector several times on why are you marking that? It's a concrete barrier. It's not gonna go anywhere. We can't knock it down. Why did you mark that there's, just put conducive condition and no. Don't put conducive condition and yes, and then you put over here could not do it because it's concrete, can't move it, well, no one can,
Well, and from that industry, we do that because that's protects us, because we deal 98% of the termites that we deal with here in Texas are subterranean. They're underground.
They're under.
We can't see them. And so they go up through plumbing voids, they go through, all of that. So you list it as a conducive condition or inaccessible area, not accessible. And so
That's perfect.
Yeah.
But when you put not acceptable and then you mark the box, yes, it
Yes.
needs treatment, I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
that's
heck is
someone not
going
filling
on
that
here?
form out
What are we
correctly.
doing? We cannot treat a concrete barrier.
Yeah.
We're not gonna drill holes, That's the whole reason they're buying the house was the concrete barrier. They liked it, we're not moving it.
Well, and that helps
So-
in my industry to know that that's what they're looking for.
It's really what they're looking for. They wanna know, okay, look, did you build a wood, vegetable garden
With mulch.
with all that and stuck it up against your house, which is gonna be bringing all the pests in? That would have to be moved, because it can be moved, And I've already had a problem. I have one out in Athens right now. She loves the above ground garden, but it's touching the house and it has to go. That's all there is to
And
it.
VA doesn't pay for their WDIs, it's the seller that pays for those.
So the veteran pays for the inspection. It used to be they did not, and that was a whole nother VA headache, because nobody wanted to pay an extra for all that. As long as there are no infested, they don't see a live infestation, and the conducive conditions can either be treated or moved, then there's no cost to the seller. But if there is an infestation and they do see live termites and there are conducive conditions, then the seller is responsible for the treatment and the removal of the conducive conditions
In VA loans.
in VA loans. And we only need a termite inspection, guys, on VA loans, not FHA, unless the appraiser asks for it. And normally the appraiser only asks for that unless they see it. If they're live and they see it, that's when they start asking for it. And now we can talk about appraisals if y'all want to.
Yeah, those have to be done within 30 days too, right? It's like for the loan.
Yeah, we had to have that before we could even get it clear to close. So the best time for you to do your termite inspection and get all that done is at inspection, at the very beginning, so that there's options for them and we can get it all done. They have time to get it fixed. Don't wait till the day of closing and send it in, because we're not gonna close. It's just not gonna happen.
Seems like I ran into a deal, but it's been a while since I did a VA. So, but yeah, you don't want to do it 45 days out, right? Because there's a time limit on that.
30, it's 30 days
Right,
you wanna
okay.
do it. Mhm.
Just to remind everybody that might not know that, if you have a VA and you need a wood destroying,
They're gonna make them go back out and do it again if it's over 30 days, guys.
that's
So
a,
that's
a
just
good
not fun.
point to keep in mind. 'Cause, yeah.
It's not fun at all. Appraisal guys, we need appraisers like you would not believe. What's happened is that we have not reproduced the next generation of appraisers is the problem. We need some trades to happen. If you have young guys, young women that don't know what they want to do with their life, being an appraiser would be an amazing step forward for them. My husband's retired, like I already told y'all, and I've already told him, look, go get your appraiser's license and go mentor with an appraiser. You could do 2 appraisers a week, and it's Vegas, baby. I don't mean it that way, but it'd be great. It's something for him to do, get out of the house, something for him to talk about other than me. I hate to say that, but it's like, go get a hobby. I don't want to be it today. He works in the yard until he can't, but then he wants to come in and sit in my office, and I'm still working. I don't get to put my foot up and decide, you decide what's for dinner now. I don't want to do it anymore.
You're retired, you cook.
Yeah, you cook, you clean, you grocery shop, and he does. He's amazing, y'all. I've kept him around, and he's a good guy, and he makes me a better person. He really does. I would be lost without Lance. best friend, best dad, you know, all the above. I love him. I know he's not here to hear it, but I do tell him every day how much I do love him. Appraisers, guys, like I'm saying, that's a great trade to get young kids in, or even retirees, or if you know somebody that's thinking of changing jobs because of all the mess they've gone through. The way that I've heard about it is that you go and get your license, and then you mentor for 1 year with an appraiser. Our bank allows those mentors to do the appraisal. There's a lot of banks that won't. They want the actual appraiser to go out there, and they want the new appraisers to have at least a year before they'll accept it. But as long as their appraiser that's mentoring them will sign off on the report, we'll accept that. And that's huge because big banks will not. So appraisers, like I said, are needed, and we don't have enough. There's too much real estate going on, selling, buying, land, some commercial, and there's not enough of them, and we're too busy. They can't get them done. So this is what's happening. If you haven't already heard, you're an appraiser, let's just pretend. And I request you to do my appraisal, and you say that you can get it back on July the 30th. So we accept your order and we pay you. You're paid. Yet we haven't even got the appraisal yet, because our borrowers have to pay for them before they'll even put them on their calendar. So they've been paid, and they're scheduled to have it to me by the 30th, right? On the 25th, we do a check-in. Hey, Miss Appraiser, how's it going? And we're just making sure we're on track for the 30th. Oh, I meant to call and tell you guys, but I'm probably about 7 extra days out.
I'm in Hawaii.
I'm like, great, okay, but we're supposed to close on the 3rd. And if I don't have it on the 30th, there's no way I'm gonna get the appraisal in, get it cleared to close, draw our docs, and get it out.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but we'll get it done as soon as we can. Then, so 7 days go by, no appraisal. Hey, you know what I'm talking about, it just happens.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I have it on my list to go see the house next Thursday. Today is Monday, it hasn't even, we're still another week and a half out before you're gonna go. Yep, but I've contacted the sellers and the agents, and I've already scheduled, and I'm gonna be there at 9 o'clock. Okay, so I'm gonna have to call them and tell them to do what? Extend again. We've already extended twice. You're pissed off, I'm ticked off, everybody's mad. Sellers are mad, buyers are mad, the movers are mad, everybody's mad, except the title company. They're like, whatever, just let us know.
The title company's like, oh, I'll deal with it next week, okay?
Yes. But that's really what's happening, guys. I'm not telling a fairy tale story. I wish we had a different kind of story to talk about, but that's really what's happening. My opinion, the appraisers have way too much power. We should be able to direct them in a timely manner as lenders, because we're sending them the business, and they shouldn't be paid until it's done.
Then it would be on time.
Or
Okay, so I don't make the rules, but that's what, if I was president, that's how I would, the appraisal district, not the world. I would change the appraisal thing. I do understand though, and being in the business as long as I have been, why there are rules for the appraiser, why there's a merchant now. I mean, I remember the day I could pick up the phone and call Kim Torres, she was my #1 appraiser, and say, Kim, you gotta go to this condo like today. I gotta have this, they just signed an executed contract, we're gonna close in 10 days, blah, 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 can you get it for me? Oh, and I'm telling you right now, I need $450, make it happen. That's how the conversation used to go, guys. It was just, make it happen, or I'm not gonna call you, I'll go on to York and York appraisers. And I won't call Kim Torres anymore if you don't do what I need you to do. And so what I'm saying to you, I didn't do that, guys, but that's what was happening. That's what was happening,
Yeah.
okay? So they did. They put an invisible line. We cannot cross it. I cannot call an appraiser, guys. I will lose my license. Period.
I can't call either.
She can't call. I will lose my license if she calls. So I'm at the mercy of the merchant. The merchant, in my opinion,